All right. So good morning, good evening, everyone. This is Ravi. I'll be taking this demo today, and if everything goes well, I'll continue for the training as well. First of all, I welcome all of you to the demo session. Hope it will go in a way that you guys can continue, and then we can learn about something in app and development. So before we start, we have very few people member here, so let's have a quick intro, like what's your current career position and why you are here, right? So we can start from Sanjay. Hi, Sanjay.
Yeah, hi.
So what is your current position? Are you working, fresher? Uh,
Yeah, currently I'm working as a manual tester.
okay, all right, thank you. Sir Arjun.
Hey, hi, good morning. Currently, I'm working as a tablet developer.
Mhm. Okay, all right. Shubham.
Yeah, I'm working as manual tester since last 4 years.
Okay, and Shweta.
Hey, hi. I'm working as an RPA developer in UiPath.
Okay, and how much of experience you have in RP development?
I have around 2 years.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Venkat.
No problem.
Hey, I'm working as a business analyst almost 15 years, and I worked in different domains, supply chain, media, pharmaceutical,
Mhm.
and all. So
Mhm.
my next project will be the in the Appian environment. So I'm looking for some training.
Okay, thank you. Madhav.
Hi Ravi, I'm working as a middleware admin. So
Okay, all right. Good. So as of now, we don't have any freshers here. Fine, that's fine. So, why Appian? Just like Venkat mentioned that his next project is going to be in Appian, so he wanted to use his analytics approach in Appian as well. So, yeah. So, how about others? Why Appian? How do you know about it? And what kind of training you're expecting? If anyone want to some point here.
yeah, I
Like,
think it's a
mhm. Go ahead, Mother. Go ahead.
I think it's a low code development and a BPM tool. So
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
actually,
it's a local.
I as a middleware admin, I also know that there is a Appian admin related one. So that's why, and I want to learn development as well. So that's why I'm here.
Okay, okay, yeah. And why you, consider Appian as your next, skill? Shweta, you wanted to mention some point? How you know
Yeah,
about
hi,
Appian?
Ravi. Yeah, so my company requires me to learn Appian. But there are like other projects.
Mm,
So as an RPA developer, they wanted me to explore this tool too, and I was
okay,
just trying to learn and know more about this Appian, and that's it. Yeah.
okay, all right. Anyone else? Shubham?
Yeah, because of booming demand and high amount of money, at least compared to testing.
That is totally correct. Yeah, that's the point right now. I mean, Appian right now is in very much demand. Is It is overtaking lots of, I mean, many other technologies like PPM tools that we have in the market. But yes, Appian is right now very much in the demand, and then it's very easy to learn. It comes with entire package. You don't have to buy different packages for like different licensing for your development environment, different licensing for your database. It's come all in one package, and for the customer side of talking, and also the development process that it has is very simple. Is It's not that much coding is here, and as we said that it's a low code platform, and most of things are on based on the configurations of your object, like we say, right, drag and drop. Also, Appian's enhancing itself every release, and then the UI is getting much and much improvements to have some user-friendly interface with some icons, colors, images, and definitely the workflows, right? The main basic principle of this Appian is the workflows, which which integrates with Appian is the thing like where you can integrate Appian in your existing application, and other application can be integrated within Appian. So all those things are very easily now and configured. We can easily create APIs so that you can provide service to third party if they want to use Appian as a backend process. So yes, Appian is right now is very in the market demand. Anything else who wanted to add what Appian is more about? Why it's a BPM, and you know anything if you specific want to know about Appian before we start.
Hey Ravi, so how is it related to RPA? Like, how do we integrate it with RPA? Do we integrate it, or is it like something because there's like drag and drop, that's why it's related to RPA?
No, Appian also has its own RPA. That's a
Okay.
different model Appian has created. Uh, I think in last 2 years, Appian is also working on this with RPA. So it has created its own RPA platform where you can, configure your bots, and then, do all those required things that you are doing into the UI part. But yes, and RP is also, every release it's improving its RP as well. It's because it's very new. It's newly introduced to Appian. So yeah, Appian has its own RPA. That's why I think that you do not have to take different applications licensing. Appian is having RPA. Appian is having IDP. So all these platforms that Appian has built, right, they have created one application and then provided you all those services that you can achieve. So IDP, RPA, ICC, all those are different components that has it.
Okay, so we can automate with Appian too, that means.
Yes, yes. Automation
Okay.
is also there into the Appian. All right. So
Okay.
before we start, guys, I just want to clear some points. In this training, we will be learning the basic development of Appian. We will not be touching the RPA part. We will not be touching the ICC part because those are the different training modules, which takes another month for to complete it. What we will be learning in this training is that the basic development that you will require to create an application. We will be touching all those points that is required to do the development in Appian, not the extra services, just like the RPS. Okay. Um, so whatever we will be creating it here, right, we will be learning here is that it will be enough for you creating an application in Appian to understand how the workflow works and how the each and every object that is required for your development process. Okay. All right. All right. So Appian. So what is
So
an Appian?
I, I have one question, Ravi.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so what's the total duration of this course?
Okay, the duration will be 30 to 35 sessions. Per session will have one day, I mean 1 hour of session each day. Okay, and
Okay,
if you excluding weekends, right? So it will go around more than a month, maybe month and a half.
all right.
Yeah.
So, as me and maybe one more person is from manual testing. So, is there any prerequisite for this course? Because I'm totally from non-IT background, in terms of education background.
Mm-hmm. So sorry, Subham, what is your question? Your voice is literally mumbling. I cannot understand it.
So is there any prerequisite for this course? Because
Ah,
I'm into manual
prerequisites.
testing,
No,
and
no, no, no.
also my educational background is non-IT.
No, that's fine. That is completely fine. See, the thing is that what you should happen is purely drag and drop and the low code, right? You don't have to write much of coding, but yes, you will require few codings like let's say for example, I say if condition, right? If condition is this, then true part and the false part. Likewise, some of the things you will require. There will be. I'm not saying that there will not be any line of code because it won't be correct. So there will be some coding, for the business logic that you have to implement. So all those coding is just like the similar to Java coding because Appian tool is been generated is created on Java itself. Okay, so all the backend thing that works in Appian is built on Java. So there will be some codings, but not you have to learn about all those complex classes and then uh, other concepts of OOPs and all, right. You don't have to worry about it. You will once you go, it's a completely concept wise, and the function name also you don't have to remember all and every function name. You just have to think about what could be the function name. Like say for example, if I say I want to merge two text, right? So when we need to append to text, the word append comes to the mind, and then there is a function called append, right? Likewise, the concept whatever you want to do, the logic that you want to implement, you will get a function around those names. You don't have to remember also. Once you start working, you will slowly remember all those functions, and then you can get it work. And also, Appian is giving you all the suggestions that a function is required. You don't have to remember what are the parameters of the function is and how does work, what kind of parameter it required. Appian in the coding panel, Appian gives you all those instructions mentioned as a description into the description window for the functions. Okay, so you will not to remember everything. And no prerequisites,
Okay.
as I said, the database things you don't have to be much, master in the database. If you know create table, update table, these all things will be required. You don't have to write much line of code for tables as well, right? So no worry about it. Even fracers, I have attained many fracers. They are easy, very easily they can pick it up. So you can also no worries about that. Yeah.
Okay. So the coding that will be done on this platform will be on Java.
No, I mean Appian has its own coding platform, but I'm saying that it will be very similar to Java coding. A few.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Any more questions?
Ravi, so are we going to work on any application? I mean, like any project where we can learn from stage to stage, like each and every
Yeah.
feature? Okay.
Yeah, so this is my approach. Many other trends follow like some other approach, like they go topic to topic wise. But what
Mm.
I personally feel is that if you go topic to topic wise, it will be very difficult to understand when do we need to use what topic. When to use a model, when to use a report, when to use an interface, and how we do that, right? So what I follow is that we discuss about enough use case. We finalize that okay, let's go with particular use case. Let's say lead management system or uh, transferring some amount from one place to another place, you know, creating a request for some inventories and all, right? So what happens when we discuss about use case, we start building an application from the scratch. Okay, this is the first thing what we require at initial stage, and then what we need to add, what kind of interface we needed. So step by step we follow, and then at the end of the training, you will be having a one small working application with you, so that you can learn when which object is required to create an application. Yeah, that's the
Okay.
approach.
Okay. So most probably we'll cover all the topics during this project, right? Or
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, when I say all the topics, it's all topic that is required for your Appian development.
Yeah, I know, not RP
Yeah,
and all those things, right? Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
And do
I
we
need to
have,
clear it
yeah.
initially because in the previous training that happens, they said no, you said Appian development, RP is also comes as Appian development. I said no, guys, it's only been 2 years to introduce this RP. Even I haven't learned the RP yet.
Okay, okay. No
So
worries. No, I was just thinking like how it's related and how we can do it.
yeah,
But yeah. And do we get any recordings of everyday session just in case if we
yes,
miss a session?
yes, we do the recordings. Every sessions is get recorded.
Okay.
So right now the process has been changing. What happens? People have started selling the recordings.
Oh, okay.
I mean, someone has approached to me. I mean, with my recording itself. I have some
Okay.
record, like to have some. So that's why there was some restrictions has started now that you can get in touch with the
Okay.
Savita.
Okay.
The
Yeah, sure.
But we will be recording each and every session, so you will be getting it at least
Okay.
for to access it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one more is how many days in a week the training is?
5 days, Venkat. We go Monday to Friday.
Okay, thank you.
Sometimes happens. Sometimes major of people don't join. So we skip on that day because we don't want to have some topics covered in that day, so that because we have to repeat again if major peoples are not there. So we try to avoid. We discuss some few points. On that day, on particular that day. Okay. Any more clarity on the training, how it will go? The people who have joined later, they can go through the recording, the points we have covered. But if you have any questions like Manikanta and then H, if you have something to ask, you can go ahead. All right.
Yeah,
Let me start.
I have a question.
Yeah. Who's this?
Uh,
Oh, Manikanta. Yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, that you are saying it will goes to 30 to 35 hours for this Appian complete.
Mhm.
So I expect any real time work sharing in this
No, that is what we were
35
discussing, right?
days?
Yeah. So that is what we were discussing with
That
Sweta, right? I
means
mean,
I are not
Sara Sara wife.
not POs.
uh, sorry. Um,
Any real
Amita,
time
can you
work
come?
sharing in this like this? It's
Is this with me or everyone can? I mean, is that what he's talking is clear? Can anyone explain?
yeah, it is clear to you now.
Okay. Yeah, can you go again, Manikanda? I couldn't hear you. Your voice was missing in between.
Actually, he is
Hello.
asking about real-time work. Will you be able to share any real-time work or not like that?
So this is what I mean.
Because
We discussed, right?
training
With
will be
Shweta.
different from real-time work, right? I think that is the question.
That, yeah. So that's what we know. We discussed with Shweta, right? We will be creating an application as a real time, and then we'll see that how an application can be built from the scratch, right? So we will be working on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, what are the topics are you going to cover? Just 10 minutes, I missed the class to
No,
join.
I haven't shared
So
that. We will
can
be sharing. I will be sharing.
are you covering the integrations part? Uh,
Okay, I will be
sorry,
covering
your
those.
voice is not.
Okay, is it clear now? Can you guys hear me properly?
Yeah, Ravi.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's perfect.
So yeah. So I was saying that we will be covering all the topics that is required for app and development. I will be sharing with you the content. Yes, it has the integration, APIs, connector systems, all those things is there, the part of it. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Okay then. Let me share my screen. Let's talk about something like app and what it can do, as we have already done it. But let's see, go for the presentation. So yes, Appian, it's all about the automation. We can do that. As I said, that Appian has introduced the RPA as well to the system. It's the fastest and it's a low code automation platform as well. So we don't have to write much of the coding, um, and drag and drop options are there and the configurations of those objects. Okay, so if I ask you guys what is a BPM, BPM basically everybody knows that Appian is a BPM tool, but what is a BPM? Anyone? Come on, guys, let's be interactive. So what is the BPM?
Yeah, BPM stands for business
BPM.
process model, and it is generally to automate the things like uh, if particular hierarchy is there to get the desired result easily.
Okay, all right.
BPM means business process management, and this Appian BPM means like it is a low code platform designed for business of all sizes. That means startup to MNC,
Okay,
right?
yeah. Anyone else want to add something? So we know that full form is a business process management. So what is a business? Okay, so in BPM, business process management, right? Business is some kind of requirement that customers gives us to do. You know, what kind of requirement they want to achieve, what kind of action they want to perform. So all those things that they give us, they wanted to do it right through the system is a business. Right? What's the process? How do we process that particular requirement? How do we create a workflow for it? How do we create an interface for it? And how do we put into all together to design a workflow from where to where a data needs to be flow. Like from user interface, we need to take it to the database level, and from database level, we need to display some on to the some reporting. So that's about the process. And management is that how do we manage the data? How do we where do we keep the data, from where we are going to bring the data? So that is about the business process management. Okay, so as we say that it's a process, process when say how and the workflow will be working. So that's why it's a BPM tool. Appian is a BPM tool because in Appian we will be having a concept called process modeling. The process modeling is nothing but to design a workflow to show the data from where and how it is processing and where we need to do that. If you talk about one of the example, everybody does the online shopping, right? And how the shopping goes, we start the customer start the some visiting the site, and then seeing some offers applicable to them. They want to buy some products. Uh, they add to the cart, and then they do the payment. So all are the sequential manner, right? You see it's following a process to complete it, right? Once the payment will be received, then the shop will receive the payment, and then they will uh, pack the items, and then they will dispatch the items, and then item will be received by the customers. So this entirely follow a process, right? If in the day-to-day scenario, if I ask you that how do you want to make a tea, so you will there could be different approaches, right? Someone can take milk first, someone can take the pen first, and then put the milk onto the pen, and then light on the gas. So all it will take a continuous workflow, but approaches can be different. So there is no one approach for one concept. It can be done well, like someone has better approach, someone can have lengthy approaches. But how do we complete and achieve a task in a process way, in a workflow? That's what about the Appian development is. Okay. So we already know about the Appian. Appian is a recognized global leaders across multiple enterprises technology markets. Right now, many financial companies, health organizations, mostly right now in the health and they have during this COVID situation, right? Appian has boosted itself a lot. People were losing their job, but Appian guys were getting a good high. But because in healthcare domain, the Appian was required because there were less number of peoples working, so that companies required some automation, company required some workflow to be created, so that they can achieve their work. right? Like for example, they wanted to have some, you know, when the pharma company created any drugs, right? They send for some to the some doctors on some medical institution for the clinical trials, to having these clinical trials data online, making progress on that one. It was very difficult initial days, but in COVID, Appian has come up with this solution and with the clinical trials, and then it makes the pharma companies life very easier, so that there were a lot of openings was happening during the COVID as well for Appian developers. Okay, so that's how Appian grew in the last 3 years a lot, into the pharmaceutical areas as well. It's already proven itself in the financial, and to the what to say that loan department, and then also the insurance department. It has already proven itself is a very much required tool. So it is also, the development duration is like reduced with like half of, I mean more than half. Any other applications is taking like a month. In Appian you can develop that in, let's say, 10 days or 15 days. And yeah, I mean, as we say that Appian has a process modeling concept which creates a workflow for Appian, which is very easy to configure. So you don't have to write much code of it. In the process model, you will have the smart services. When I say smart services are used to perform some actions like for writing a data to the database. We do not have to worry about any connection. It's just we have a smart service. We have to configure the uh, uh, two things, like which table I want to write the data, and then which what data we need to write. We just have to provide those two variables, and then it will be easily written to the database. You see this all these interfaces, and you do not have to write much coding for mentioning that how the code will interface will look like on tablet, how it will look like onto the desktop, laptop, or tabs. You don't have to worry about it. Appian code automatically adjusts according to their requirement. Okay, and you see these UIs are very nice and clean. They are giving you a lot and lot of options of user interfaces. Yes, it's a low code. If you see, talk about the companies like Equivia, Bayer, and Sanofi, they have said that the reporting time has been reduced to hours to minutes. It was taking lots of hours to create a reporting, but in Appian we can create in a minute. So because once we get the data points, once we get the data, it's very easy to configure the reports. We can create a reports by using charts as well. We can easily define the pie chart, line chart, bar chart. All the chart is very easy to be configured in Appian. Yes, Ramabu, you have any point? Morning. Okay. So EQA has also mentioned that see, I mean, how do I understand what you want to coding understand? What do you mean by that? Coding understand? Okay, I'll take the questions at the last. Let me finish this presentation, then we can take the questions at the last. Thank you. Okay, so EQA has also mentioned that yes, the coding is much more like the Java coding, like in if else condition, and then the looping concept and all, right? Yes, it will be much like the Java. Not exactly, it has its own, but as this Appian has been built on the Java application, so yes, it will be much like the Java coding. All right. And you see the Sanofi, what it says that compliance reporting generation reduced from 6 days to 5 seconds. So when they were talking about the manual reporting on the Excel and all, right, it was taking 6 days, and now in Appian they just have to do some click and then report is ready with all those data points. All right, so that's how Appian is faster. That's why Appian, people say that Appian is very much faster. Market positioning, yes, it's now leading the market in BPM area. Appian is like is leading in all of the BPM application development, like case management, request management, and if you talk about the financial, the risk management and all, right, Appian is is very much suitable for this one. This is very older report, but yes, it's still continuing. Appian is even has grown in this last 2 3 years. But yes, Appian is leading the market for overall rating right now. I think it's 4.8 something, yeah. But according to the Gartner report, but it's leading the market in terms of hike, in terms of required by the companies and accepting by the other companies. Like right now, there are a lot of companies which is working with Appian. Okay, where Appian fits, as I said that in initial that Appian also is capable of integrating the other application within it, and Appian is also capable has the capability to integrate itself, like by using APIs to the some other third party. If you wanted to integrate Appian workflows in your existing application, you can do that. In Appian, we can build an API and we can introduce that API details with the third party, and they can easily connect with Appian and then use this Appian processes, interfaces. They can start a process from the third party to Appian also by using this API. Um, yeah, I mean, as I said that RPAs has been also introduced to the Appian. AI is there, and process automation is there. So we can create a process also. We don't need an RPA. Like suppose if you want to have some batch process to restart, which runs automatically in the Appian, right? You can do that as well without any RPA. So you can define at particular time, and then it can start execution by itself, on that particular defined time. Right. This is one of the example of the Appian interfaces. Initial days, there was we had only Appian interfaces called Tempo. Tempo is one of the Appian shoots which is required to perform some action so user can interact with that particular UI. But now Appian has introduced with sites, which will give you look and feel wise that you're working on a web application. And then this is one of the example of the site where you can have different tabs, a nice design interface. This is very basic interface. You can do much and more on this Appian sites page. You see the reporting, it's very easy to configure the reporting, like what kind of reporting you want pie chart or line chart or graph, whatever graph you want to have. You have list of the graphs available where you can go and create your charts easily. For RPA, yeah, I mean, you can integrate the workflow, you can integrate the pods, the RPA thing, and you can also integrate in AI tools to complete your workflow, and we can combine all together in one process model. So it will be a combination of everything, that can be achievable in Appian, which makes it greater as compared to the other BPM tools. Yeah, I mean, process model, as I said, right, in process model, will have some of the smart services which doesn't require a single line of code. It just requires some configurations. That's why it says that process with zero code. If you don't require a process to be written any logic inside there, right, you can easily configure the smart services with some contribution point just to provide the data inputs. That's all you have to do. And this is the image that you can see it here is a kind of process model that has been designed. You can take a decision where it has to go. You can divert the workflow. You can create a sub processes so that your process model should not be having much. And Appian suggests so do not use more than 30 nodes. Yeah, so you can create a sub process to avoid that scenario, and then you can have gateways, you can have send email smart service, you can have interfaces, all those things you can configure in a process model to achieve a task. Yes, definitely it is much faster than the custom code. As a Forester's company mentioned that it is 20 times faster from the custom coding. So it's very easy and very quick to develop one application in days. So we have some components. We have like contents like interface, expression rules, processes, AI tools, rules, integration constants, all those things that we have, we can create in Appian. And all the objects, if you want to design in such a way that if you want to reuse it, you can definitely do that. Okay. Talking about the companies, so here are the few list of the companies right now this is the older list, but if you talk about the healthcare, then you see the pharma, right? The list of the pharma is very high nowadays. Why? Because during the COVID, many of the organization companies like Johnson Johnson, Merck, these are the giants, and Pfizer, Sanofi, these are the giants in the pharmaceutical company, and everyone is using Appian as for their applications. If you talk about the financial, the companies like FRB, Barclays, Citibank, SDF, HSBC, these all bigger clients are using Appian as their tool to create an application. HSBC is like is like targeting, I, I'll say that all of the applications in Appian, I believe, but because HSBC has a huge number of requirement of Appian developers, and the biggest vendor for HSBC is currently is Coforge, I believe. Yeah, Coforge is having clients with HSBC. So all those companies are using Appian as their tool. Okay, before going to the product demo, yes, go ahead with the questions, guys.
Hey Ravi, so I have one question. So, are these all applications data-based applications? Like we just try to collect, build UI-based thing? I mean, build the UI based on the data only, or is it like any application?
No, see, I mean, when you talk about the BPM, most of the application development, not only the BPM or the app, Java, you talk about C and Python, whatever, right? You will require to collect the data. What all application is about, collecting the data and then organizing the data in a such a way that you can reuse the data, you can work in later, right? So we will require database, right?
Okay.
Right? So I mean, suppose I want to create a request. I want to raise a request for inventories, right? If I don't save into the database, the information will be lost in some time, right? How long
Mm-hmm.
you will keep the instance active on data active online, right? If you keep the data active for always, your Appian system will go down in some day because it will have memory, a shortage issue, right? So we should not be keeping the instances Appian, whatever instance we will be running for a long time. We should be capturing that into the database so that if you want to perform an action on that data, you can do it later, right? So yes, and when we talk about the database, Appian has its own database, that is MariaDB. Initially it was the MySQL, but later it has been changed to the MariaDB, which is very much similar to the MySQL.
Oh, sorry,
You
what
can
was
also
that?
MariaDB.
MariaDB. Okay.
Yeah, it's very much similar to the MySQL. UI is interface layer, you will have the MariaDB. In the backend, it will be MariaDB. It's very much
Okay.
similar to the MySQL. But it's not
Okay.
like that you can only use this one. You can also integrate with the third party like Oracle, SQL Server. You can also integrate with those kind of databases if you have already existing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Ravi, what is a version and where we can practice this? Means like we need to install Appian or something. Where?
Okay. So Appian comes with two versions. One is the cloud and one is the one on-premise. So on-premise, you have to definitely buy it. Appian also provides the free on cloud versions upon logging, so you can practice there. But the problem is that there were a lot of requests was made for to Appian to to get a free instance. So what happened? Appian has restricted as of now. So what we do, I have created my personal learning purpose account. So I'll be sharing the credentials with you guys so that you guys can practice there, but you guys can also try to get your own instance. It may take, initially it was taking few minutes, but now it may take a day or a week or maybe a month, so we can't wait till that, right? So I'll be sharing my own credentials so you guys can go and practice there. Okay,
How to get those? Actually, is there any
i'll
steps
be
to
sharing
get
the
that?
I'll be sharing the steps. Yeah, I'll be sharing the steps to how do we log into the community and then get that. I'll be sharing that steps.
Okay. Actually, what we are going to, which version we are going to use?
So
version.
it will give you the latest version. If you're going to the Appian commit, right, it will always be the latest version. Right now it goes like versioning goes like year and then the quarter. So right now we are the third quarter, right? So 23.3 will be the latest version. If it had been introduced, then you will be using the latest versions.
Okay, Ravi, thank you.
Yeah. Any other question, guys?
Hey Ravi, so do we have any certifications for this one too, Appian?
Yes, Appian has four certifications. One is the analyst level, which is very basic. Second is the associate level developer, then senior level developer, and then lead developer. Okay, so during this training, if you go with your clear your concept and you concentrate, you will be easily clearing the analyst and then associate level developer certification. You will be able to clear it out. So the
Okay, so
certification cost is $200 in case
okay,
the organizations that you are working with, if they are already partners with the Appian, then you might get 50% of discount. So it will be like $100 plus GST.
okay. Is it like I mean, for the certification, do they ask us to work on any project for that, or is it like
No, no, no. There will be MCQs for the
oh,
questions.
okay, okay, okay? Because for I remember doing UI path one, that looks different, right? We have to do some projects, so
Yeah, I mean,
thinking.
in initial days, for even for lead also, there was this requirement that user has to give some real project experience. But later they have removed that, and it is goes as MCQs only. But yeah, it will be very much tougher to clear the
Okay,
lead. Lead
okay,
required at least 6 to 7 years of experience for a lead, right? So yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, let me now quickly show you that how Appian looks like and how it has the interfaces that we can see. All right, give me a second. Okay, let me share my screen back. I hope that you guys can see my screen.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yes,
Okay, so this is a very much first page of Appian. When we say about Appian, it's like page. It's a suits. If you talk about the URL, right? You can see the URL. This is the on cloud version. So we here till here we have the community URL. I mean the environment URL that Appian provides to us to work upon, and then we will be having the shoots. So in Appian we have different shoots. The first shoot is called tempo. This is a tempo which is right now it's not being in use. Why? Because Appian has come up with the sites, but still some companies are working with it, and I don't want to bypass these things because you may have to work on this tempo as well. So for the basic user, this suits is available for all users. If I say like the system administrator, the developers, and the basic users. Why? Because basic user was, I mean, this was a page where basic users can come and then they can interact with their application and then they work on it. Okay, they can take an action, they can complete their task and all, right? So this was the first shoot tempo. In this tempo shoot, you will have 5 tabs, which is news. Like if anything is, community and want to publish here, you will be able to see in the news tab. Second, we'll come to not repeat sequence. So second is that actions. Like if you are part of 3 or 4 application of your Appian environment, you will be getting all your application access here on your left hand side. For example, let's say I talk about online banking application. Okay, because I want to initiate any transfer. So once you click on this application, you will be getting your action name. So I want to initiate and transfer. Once you click on initiate a transfer, all those pages will come like to initiate the transfer. Like I want to search for a customer, and then I want to search for it and select that particular customer, click on next, and select the from account, and if you want to transfer which account I want to transfer. So this was application was built into the last training, and we talk about from like one of your account you want to transfer amount to your loan account, right? So that was we decided to go with, and then we click on next. So we want to put some amount and then some notes here, and there are some kind of variations also, like our transaction limit is 20,000. We cannot go beyond that. So let me remove this, and then we click on next, the confirmation screen, and then click on submit. Submit request will get submitted. So to take an action, we can come to the action tab here into tempo, and we can achieve that. The problem with tempo is that if you are part of like let's say 5 or 6 applications, all those will be listed here. It will be very difficult to get the list task, and then so that's what the issue. And if you go to the task page, like during the process, a task has been generated for your manager. So you see this one, that this current request was submitted, and I am the only manager because in the development environment. So what I see, I was assigning the task to myself. So I get this task. Now the problem is that if you are part of 3 to 4 applications, all those tasks will be listed here, and it will be very difficult to understand which task belongs to which application. That's why Appian has come up with the concept of sites. In the sites, we can, and the site is basically built application wise. For each application we can have one site where we can go and take an action based on your application. So once you submit the task and submit the actions, if any task is there that you have to complete, you can come to the task tab, and then you can see, okay, there are certain tasks that has been assigned to you or a group that you are part of. You can accept the task, and you can proceed, and you can take a decision. Like for this one, I can reject this transfer, or we can approve this transfer. So once we see and approve, we will be able to submit our task as well. Now, if you talk about the records, this record is basically gives you the a record of your actions that has been taken, a number of requests that you have submitted. All those things can be configured here. So let's say the current request that we have created, that's for the transaction, I believe. Yeah. So you see, this is the transaction I have initiated initially. So this talk about like who was the customer, which account they want to transfer, what's the notes, what is the transfer date. So these kind of things, if you wanted to perform, we can create it here. You can also take an action, like suppose if we have a customer's record, right? And if you want to have some create a new customer, so you can take a record action, and you can directly create a new customer from your application, provide all those information here. And if you want to open any customer, and if you want to take any related action on it, like if you want to update this customer, you can also perform it from this, doing some record actions. This fifth tab that we have reports. The reports is basically like if you want to display any report based on your requirement, like let's say OBJ reporting. If you talk about online banking reporting, I wanted to create a chart by mentioning that how many number of requests have been approved, how many have been rejected and initiated. So we can also create a chart by status and any other things that we wanted to have. These are the applications created by the Appian administration. So for learning purpose, you can simply click on it, and you can also see what kind of report they have created. They have created a nice, different reports also is there. So all those reports is also possible to be created in Appian. Okay, these are the reportings. All right, so this was our tempo. Now, second suite that Appian has is called Designer, which is useful for you guys. Designer is basically called a development environment where you go and do the development. This will not be accessible by the end users, like the basic users. To access this designer page, you will require at least the designer privileges so you can work it. So in Appian, we can have 3 kinds of users. One is the system admin and one of the basic user. These are the 2 defined. But third is that basic user with designer privileges, so that will be have the developer access. So we can create that. If you have the developer access, you can come to see this page, and here is the page where you can actually create your own applications. So you see this one, all these things, these are nothing but one each application. So Appian doesn't restrict you to create one application in an environment. You can create n number of applications within your environment. Okay, you can easily create an application by creating a new application here. Once you click on new application, it will ask you to provide some name and all. You can provide the name and you can submit your application name. Once you click on that, application will be get created, and inside this application you will have like build, where you can see the overview of your objects, and inside the build you will have all those objects listed that you have created for your application working purpose. So you can create an expression rule, constant, process model, all those things will be required to create. You can easily create by clicking on new, and all those options are there. Whatever we will require, we will be creating all those things. Okay. Any questions on the development? Okay. Now we have a third suite that is called database. The cloud database, it, as I said, that it has also its inbuilt database. So which is look and feel wise, you will see that it's a MySQL, but internal server is a MariaDB. Okay, it's a, if you want to create a table, you don't have to write a code for it. The create syntax and all right. You just have to click on new, and you just have to provide the table name and the columns name and their type. You just have to define it and click on save. It will create the table. If you want to have the scripts, you can create on preview SQL and you will have it. Okay, so it's very easy to create the tables and all. The fourth suite that we have is called admin console. This is for the system administrator users. System admin user will have the access of this page where you can set the branding of your application. You can restrict the what kind of file you need to upload. You can add the plugins. You can remove the plugins. You can also set that which page is accessible by the which user when they log in, where they land, which page will be landing. LDAP on authentication, web API authentication, all those things you can configure in the admin console page. So this will be only for the system administrator, not the developer users. Okay. So these are the suites of the Appian, and we talk about this Appian tempo page. Let's see how these Appian sites will look like. I'll open the same site. People Bank, I believe, for the OBA that we see, right? Initial transfer, yes. So this was the application that we initiated from the tempo, right? And it was like very simple UIs and all, right? But same application is, you can see it here. You see this initial transfer. If you can click on it, it will open the same workflow to achieve the same initiate the transfer and all. We have defined this interface. We can see the list of the tasks is available here. Inside the transaction, we can go and we can see that everything will be collected at one place. You don't have to switch the tabs for it, like tempo, accent to record to task, and all. We will see it here. All those transactions are listed here. To talk about the dashboard, so we have the same chart here. And if you also want to see the list of the customers available, we can see the list of the customers available here. Okay, all those new customers and add multiple customers options are also available. So whatever we were trying to perform by using the tempo page, we can easily do the site, and in the site you will have control that you are working with only the particular application, not the other application tasks will be listed here. Okay, so that is about the site. Any question, guys, on this Appian, how Appian looks like and how the interface, what the designer, admin console?
So Ravi, will do we work on similar application?
Yes, we will be creating some similar kind of use case to understand the
Okay.
workflows and so you
Okay.
see this application was the final product once I
Yeah.
completed the last training.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Do you think like this would be enough time to learn and as well as work on this particular project?
Yeah, I mean, you see the last training also completed in 35 sessions. So we
Okay.
completed all those things and
Because
we
I'm
have
beginner,
ended up.
right? I'm beginner, so I don't have much idea. I was just worried if it was
No.
possible.
So if you don't believe, in the last batch we had freshers as well, and they all are able to achieve this. So what happened,
Okay.
it depends on you, right? And like if I start development, so there are two ways. Either you can, whatever you are learning, you can use in your daily practice and you can create your own application.
Okay.
Okay, so with some different syntax. what I suggest is that you should create your own application, but try to use some different use case. Because if you try
Okay.
to use the same use case that we are working during the training, right, you will be
Mm,
ending up the copy pasting the code,
yeah.
right? So try to use some different use case which may help you to get some new scenarios. The workflow will be same, I mean, kind of the objects that we will be creating will be same. It's just
Mm,
UI wise and then the concept wise it will be different, right? So try to use some different use case which will help you a lot. And it's proven that whoever has created their own use case, they had the better understanding of application because they were
okay.
not doing the copy pasting the code. They were trying to achieve something by their own, right? Just to referring the
Yeah.
training model. So if you do that, you will feel good.
Do you help us in picking your own use cases? Like, do you, I
Yeah,
mean, do
we
you
can
have
talk
any
about
such?
it. We
Yeah.
discuss
Okay.
in the training. We discuss within the
Okay.
training, what kind of use case we can work, and then if you have anything, sometimes it happens like people comes with some better idea because I
Mm,
have few use cases so that I do it like last time we did it for this online banking transfer.
yeah.
So yeah, similar way we can have a different use case as well.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
So, yeah, guys, any more questions? Usually there is a lot of questions on this Appian shoots. So that's what the Appian environment will look like where you will be working. Okay, so let me share my screen back. This is Appian Architect. Basically, as I talk about the tempo and sites, we have these shoots, we have designer, and we have admin console. One more thing that we have is called embedded interface. This embedded interface is not that much useful right nowadays because we have the APIs. Initially, is what happens, they wanted to integrate some UIs to the third party, which required to be embedded. And frankly speaking, this is very avoidable object that we can do, and it's required. I mean, lots of connections to be made to use this one. We talk about the services, right? What kind of services we have. If you say we have APIs and plugins and the connectors, we use Amazon Web Server, and we have designer, administrator, and an integrator. Integrator is basically the integration services that we provide, where we just create the integration object by using the URLs and then the connection point, like the username authentication, what we need, API keys, what do we need, all those things we need to have it. Appian also has its inbuilt data server. Data server, it's for like in the database that we have seen, the MariaDB server, and then the file system. It also has its own file system that you can upload a document to the Appian and you can keep it to your Appian server. And then we also have a search server, like if you're trying to search for any rules, any interfaces, you can easily search it within the Appian because all the subjects will be residing within the Appian uh, cloud instance itself. Yeah, this is about the all those demo. We've seen that what Appian is, how the market positioning. We have seen the product demo. I mean, what kind of application we can build. We have seen this one of the application as well, and that picture. So, any guys, any questions, just to let me know. I'll be answering those. Come on, guys, no questions? Usually, there's a lot of questions. Uh, Demonstration. Okay. If you guys don't have any questions, then no question about the timing and all. Um,
I think that was shared with us in the WhatsApp, like
okay.
7:30 a.m. in the
Yeah,
morning.
correct. Let me share one more thing. I just forgot to share this content. What are the things we will be covering this training? Let me quickly do that. So see, this is the demerit of not asking the questions. If you don't ask the questions, I might miss some points, right? So better you guys ask some questions. Okay. So yeah, we will be, starting from the introducing this Appian that we are already did, but I can repeat it again. Overview the Appian, the tempo, all those record, report action, creating the application lifecycle, application that contains data type, data store, expressions, all those objects that is required here. We will be creating that. We will be creating all those objects as well, rule, groups, content, um, and then we will be using this sail. Sail is nothing but interface that we will be creating CDTs, annotations, uh, process objects like the process modeling, record types, say layouts, links, all other layouts is the interface component that we will be saying, and then the model overviews, creating a process model, publishing the model, designer view, smart services, event gateways, APIs, integration, and then connected system. So we will be creating all those objects that you are listing here. Even beyond of this one, we will be creating some things to learn. Okay, and just to clear one more time, we will not be covering any features, additional features like RPA, IDP, ICC by whatever is given by the Appian, because those are the separate training module which takes around a month to complete it. Okay, all right. So let's connect tomorrow. It's beyond an hour now. Let's connect tomorrow and we can continue with
I
what.
have one question. Hello.
Yeah, Sanjay, go ahead.
Yeah, are these topics are enough
Yes, yes.
regarding?
This to do a basic development of your application, there no extra features like RP and all, right? It's enough to cover complete. These are the already objects we have it.
Yeah,
Okay,
one
in
quick
real time
question.
we need to do RPA also, or I could not
No, no,
understand.
no, no. For the Appian, see, RPA is a different module at all, right? I mean, RPA is a different thing. Right now, there are a lot of tools in on market for RPA. Appian has also introduced RPA within Appian. So yeah, I mean, if you can learn that about it, you will be having some extra feature. But as a basic development for a workflow, RPA is not required. RPA is not required everywhere, right? Just RPA is additional thing for your application.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are these
Will
topics
you
good enough
explain?
for L2 certification?
Sorry, Venkat?
These topics good enough for the L2
Yeah, I
certification?
just said, right? When we complete the training, you will be able to appear for your analyst and then associate developer at least.
Okay. I think L2 is a
How
lead
about?
developer.
Yeah. Yes, Sanjay.
I mean, will you explain in a topic wise or any project kind of thing?
No, I'll be creating the project, from the scratch, and which will cover all the topics,
Okay. Okay. How about the opportunities as of now? Uh,
are huge. Huge. I mean, if you are going to add Appian as your skill, you will be getting a call, a message in LinkedIn every day.
okay. For 2 years experience? Hello.
Yeah, at least minimum 2 years is required. Uh,
Oh,
People are asking for 2 years of experience at least. And if you're going with a fake experience, I'll suggest don't go beyond 2 years. You can say that if you have 10 years of experience, you can say that, okay, I have 8 years of in other technology that you are working on. And then you can say the last 2 years I'm working on learning Appian. So likewise, you can go with that.
okay.
Hey Ravi, so when was this tool introduced? Like when did it come to the market? Since you was mentioning like it was
Uh,
2 years.
Around 2000, I think 8, it was introduced, but not widely used. 12, 13, it was being widely used in India. And then, from there it is like booming itself. So
Okay.
initial days, the tool was like versioning, the sequential number like 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, and all, right? From
Mm-hmm.
2016, from 2016. it has started like quarter wise, like year and then quarter wise, 16.1, 16.2, 16.3, and 16.4.
Okay. So in 1 year there was like 4 releases, 4 different versions, or it was like
That is correct. 4 versions
okay,
in a
four
year.
versions. Okay.
Okay, so from 2016, it started like 16.1, 16.2, 16.3. Initially, I mean, prior to 16 dot version, it was like 7.8, 7.9, 7.10, like what it was going on.
Okay.
So from 16, they have started like 16.1. It's a good question because people try to trick you. That, do you know, Appian, if you are going to put more and more experience, right? They try to ask you this question.
Okay. And Ravi, how do we reach out to you if we have any questions after the class?
So we will be creating a WhatsApp group for it. Okay, whoever's joined. So in group, I will be also there. You can post
Okay.
it to your group.
Okay, got you. Yeah, thank you.
Ravi, apart from developer, is there any other modules are there in the Appian?
Yeah, I mean, system admin role is there, right? Lead architect.
Okay, okay.
Okay, in case no questions, let's wrap up this call and then we can connect tomorrow. Let's see how many of you come continue the session. So tomorrow onwards, we'll be starting, again, quite a small overview of Appian, and then we'll be seeing that how do we create a credential, uh, because it will take time to get the access for your own environment. I will be sharing my own credentials with you guys so that you can guys start, development right away. Okay.
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 Thank you, Ravi. Yeah. Thanks for your
Thank
time.
you. Thank you all for joining. It was a nice session with you all. Let's see how can we continue for tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.